When 8-year-old Ara chose a stranger's protection over her own father's embrace, she unknowingly signed 3 death warrants. Amara thought she was saving a lost child. She had no idea she was stealing the heart of Seoul's most feared mafia boss. Kang Jun-ho could kill a man with his bare hands, but he couldn't reach his own daughter's broken heart. Now, as rival enemies circle like wolves, using love as the ultimate weapon, one terrifying question remains. How far will a grieving father go to reclaim his family? And how much will a woman sacrifice to protect a child who isn't even hers? What started as an act of kindness is about to become a deadly game where the stakes are higher than money or power. They're fighting for the very soul of a family torn apart by grief. The choice between love and survival has never been more impossible. Subscribe and tell me in the comments, would you risk everything for a child who chose you over their own blood? Amara's hands moved across the keyboard. Numbers blurred together on the screen. Her eyes burned from staring at spreadsheets for 6 hours straight. Just finish this batch, she whispered to herself. The clock on her computer showed 11:47 p.m. Maya would be asleep by now. Hopefully. Amara's chest tightened with guilt. Another late night. Another missed dinner together. Her phone buzzed. A text from her landlord. Rent overdue. Need payment by Friday or eviction notice. Amara felt sick. Friday was tomorrow. She had exactly $43 in her checking account. Her second job at the diner would pay next week. Too late. She closed the laptop and gathered her things. The office building was empty except for security guards. Her footsteps echoed in the marble lobby. Outside, Seoul's street still hummed with life. Neon signs cast pink and blue shadows on wet pavement. Amara pulled her jacket tighter and walked toward the subway station. Her phone rang. Maya's school. Miss Lewis, this is Principal Kim. We need to discuss your sister's attendance. Amara's stomach dropped. What happened? Maya missed 3 days this week. We understand your situation, but she wasn't feeling well, Amara said quickly. I'll make sure she's there tomorrow. Miss Lewis, if this continues, we'll need to involve social services. The call ended. Amara stood frozen on the sidewalk. Social services meant losing Maya, losing the only family she had left. She rode the subway home in silence. Her reflection stared back from the dark window, dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She looked as tired as she felt. The apartment building's elevator was broken again. Amara climbed 4 flights of stairs. Each step felt heavier than the last. She opened the door quietly. Maya sat at the kitchen table with her homework spread out. Textbooks and pencils covered the scratched surface. You're still awake, Amara said. Maya looked up, 13 years old, but her eyes held too much worry. I couldn't sleep. Mrs. Park called earlier, about the rent. Amara felt exhausted. Maya shouldn't know about money problems. She should be thinking about friends and school and normal teenage things. Don't worry about that, Amara said. I'll handle it. How? The question hung in the air. Amara didn't have an answer. She opened the refrigerator and pulled out leftovers from 2 nights ago, rice and vegetables that looked questionable. Are you hungry? She asked. Maya shook her head. I ate the crackers. Amara's heart broke a little more. Crackers for dinner. She was failing at the one job that mattered most. She heated the rice in the microwave and sat beside Maya at the table. The homework was math, algebra problems that made Amara's head hurt. Need help? She asked. I figured it out, Maya said. You were working. Always working. Always absent when Maya needed her. Amara felt like she was drowning. Every breath took effort. Let's get you to bed, she said. Maya gathered her papers and stood. Amara, yeah? Are we going to be okay? The question cut deep. Maya's voice was small, scared. Amara forced a smile she didn't feel. Of course we are. We always figure it out. Maya nodded and disappeared into her bedroom. Amara heard the door close softly. She sat alone at the kitchen table and stared at the stack of bills beside her laptop. Electricity, water, internet. Medical bills from Maya's emergency room visit last month. The numbers blurred together. More money than she could ever make. More debt than she could ever pay. Her phone buzzed again. A text from her boss at the diner. Need you to cover Saturday morning shift, Sandra called out. Saturday was supposed to be her day off. Her only day to spend time with Maya. To do laundry and grocery shopping and pretend they had a normal life. She typed back, I'll be there. because she had no choice, because Maya was counting on her, because giving up wasn't an option. Amara closed her eyes and tried to imagine tomorrow being better. It had to be. She wouldn't let herself think about the alternative. Maya bounced through the apartment door with unusual energy. Her backpack hit the floor with a loud thud. Amara looked up from her laptop, where she'd been applying for a third job online. "Good day?" Amara asked. Maya grinned. "So I made a new friend." "That's great." Amara felt relieved. Maya had been struggling to connect with kids her age. Moving schools 3 times in 2 years hadn't helped. "She's really quiet," Maya said, "but she shared her lunch with me." Footsteps in the hallway caught Amara's attention. Maya was looking toward the door expectantly. "Maya? What?" The door opened. A small girl stood in the doorway, maybe 8 years old. Dark hair fell in perfect waves past her shoulders. Her clothes looked expensive. Designer jeans and a silk blouse that probably cost more than Amara made in a week. But her eyes looked empty. "This is Ara," Maya said proudly. "I told her she could come over." Amara felt confused. The girl hadn't said a word. She just stood there staring at the floor. Her hands were perfectly still at her sides. "Hi, Ara," Amara said gently. "Does your mum know where you are?" Ara didn't respond, didn't even look up. Maya took Ara's hand and led her inside. "She doesn't talk much, but she's really smart. She helped me with math today." Amara's chest tightened with concern. Something was wrong with this picture. The expensive clothes, the silence, the way Ara moved carefully, cautiously. "Where do you live?" Amara asked. Ara finally looked up. Her eyes met Amara's for just a second before darting away. Fear flickered across her face. Maya answered instead. "She wouldn't tell me, but she walked here from school with me." Amara felt worry growing in her stomach. A child this young shouldn't be wandering around Seoul alone, especially not a child who looked like she came from money. "Are you hungry?" Amara asked Ara directly. Ara's eyes found hers again. This time they held something desperate. She nodded once. Barely a movement. Amara's heart squeezed. Whatever was happening, this child needed help. "Okay, let me see what we have." She opened the refrigerator and surveyed their options. Not much. Some eggs, leftover rice, a few vegetables that were still edible. "How about fried rice?" she asked. Ara's face brightened slightly. Maya clapped her hands together. "She loves rice," Maya said. "I could tell at lunch." Amara started cooking. She scrambled eggs and mixed them with rice and vegetables. Nothing fancy, but it smelled good. Ara watched every movement from her seat at the table. When Amara set the plate in front of her, Ara stared at it for a long moment. Then she picked up the chopsticks and began eating. Small, careful bites. Maya chattered about school while they ate. Ara listened, but never spoke. Occasionally she would nod or shake her head when Maya asked direct questions. After dinner, the girls moved to the living room. Maya turned on a cartoon and Ara curled up on the couch. She looked smaller somehow, more fragile. Amara watched from the kitchen while she cleaned dishes. Something was definitely wrong. Ara's behavior wasn't normal. The expensive clothes mixed with the fearful silence painted a disturbing picture. "Ara," Amara said, sitting on the couch between the girls, "do you need me to call someone? Your parents?" Ara's body went rigid. She shook her head frantically. Panic flashed across her face. "Hey, it's okay," Amara said quickly. "You don't have to talk about it." Ara's breathing slowed. She looked at Amara with gratitude mixed with something else. Trust, maybe, or hope. The sun was setting outside. Amara knew she should probably try to get Ara home, but the child seemed terrified at the thought of leaving. "Can she stay for a while?" Maya asked. "Please." Amara looked at Ara. The girl's eyes were pleading. Whatever home looked like for her, she didn't want to go back to it. "For a little while," Amara said, "but we'll need to call your family soon." Ara nodded, but her shoulders stayed tense. They watched TV as darkness fell outside. Ara gradually relaxed against the couch cushions. When Maya fell asleep during a movie, Amara covered her with a blanket. Ara was still awake, still watching, still silent. "You can stay tonight," Amara whispered, "if you need to." Something shifted in Ara's expression. Relief flooded her face. She reached out tentatively and touched Amara's hand. Her fingers were cold, small, delicate. Amara squeezed gently. "You're safe here." Ara's eyes filled with tears. She didn't cry, but her breath caught, the first real emotion she'd shown all evening. Amara felt protective. This child was clearly in trouble, running from something, scared of something. "Come on," she said. "Let's get you settled." Ara followed her to Maya's room. Amara made a bed on the floor with extra blankets and pillows. Ara climbed under the covers, fully clothed. "Sleep well," Amara said. When she started to leave, Ara's hand shot out. She grabbed Amara's wrist. Her grip was surprisingly strong. "Don't leave," she whispered. The first words she'd spoken. Her voice was tiny, broken. Amara's heart broke. She sat on the floor beside Ara's makeshift bed. "I'm right here." Ara's hand found hers under the blankets. She held on tightly and closed her eyes. Amara stayed until Ara's breathing became deep and even. Only then did she carefully extract her hand and slip out of the room. In the kitchen, she stared at her phone. She should call the police, report a missing child. But something stopped her. Ara wasn't lost. She was hiding. Morning light streamed through the apartment windows. Amara woke up on the couch where she'd fallen asleep. Her neck ached from the awkward position. Voices came from the kitchen. Maya and Ara were already awake. Amara found them eating cereal together. Ara was wearing one of Maya's oversized t-shirts. Her expensive clothes from yesterday were folded neatly on a chair. "Good morning," Amara said. Maya smiled brightly. "Ara helped me make breakfast." Amara looked at Ara. The girl was actually smiling, just a small curve of her lips. But real. "Thank you," Amara said to her. Ara nodded and returned to her cereal. The morning felt normal, domestic, like Ara belonged here, but Amara knew it couldn't last. Someone was probably looking for her. "Ara," she said gently, "I need to know how to contact your family." Ara's spoon froze halfway to her mouth. Fear crept back into her eyes. "They won't be angry," Amara said. "They're probably worried about you." Ara set down her spoon. She looked at Maya, then at Amara. Her mouth opened like she wanted to speak, but no words came out. Maya reached over and took Ara's hand. "It's okay. Amara's nice." Ara's voice was barely a whisper. "I can't go back." "Why not?" Amara asked softly. Ara shook her head. Tears gathered in her eyes but didn't fall. Amara felt torn. This child was clearly in distress, but keeping her here without contacting anyone felt wrong. Dangerous, even. Her phone rang. Maya's school. "I need to take this," Amara said. She stepped into the living room and answered. "Miss Lewis, Maya isn't here yet. Classes started 20 minutes ago." Amara looked at the clock. 8:45 a.m. She'd overslept. "I'm sorry. She'll be there soon." "And Miss Lewis?" "The absence reports I mentioned yesterday. We received a call from social services. They want to schedule a home visit." Amara felt sick. "When?" "Next week. I wanted to give you advance notice." The call ended. Amara stared at her phone. Social services meant inspections, questions, scrutiny she couldn't afford, especially not with a mysterious child living in her apartment. She walked back to the kitchen. Maya was getting her backpack ready for school. Ara sat frozen at the table. "Maya?" "You need to leave now," Amara said. "What about Ara?" "Good question." Amara looked at Ara's terrified face. Sending her to school would mean questions, registration, paperwork, phone calls to parents. "She can stay here today," Amara decided. "We'll figure things out." Maya hugged Ara goodbye. "I'll see you after school, okay?" Ara nodded, but her eyes tracked Maya until the door closed. The apartment felt different with just the two of them. Quieter, more intense. "Are you hungry?" Amara asked. Ara shook her head. "Do you want to watch TV?" Another head shake. Amara sat across from her at the table. Ara's hands were folded perfectly in her lap. Her posture was unnaturally straight. "You don't have to be scared of me," Amara said. Ara's eyes found hers. Something vulnerable flickered there. "I won't make you go anywhere you don't want to go," Amara continued. "But I need to understand what's happening." Ara was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke, so softly Amara had to strain to hear. "My daddy doesn't know where I am." "Is that good or bad?" Ara's breath caught. "I don't know." The answer revealed more than she probably intended. This wasn't a happy family situation. Something was broken at home. Amara felt protective instincts rising. Maya had those same lost eyes when their parents died. That same careful way of moving through the world. "Well," Amara said. "You can stay here as long as you need." Something shifted in Ara's expression, hope mixed with disbelief. "Really? Really?" For the first time since yesterday, Ara smiled completely. Her whole face lit up. Amara felt warmth spreading through her chest. Whatever trouble this brought, it was worth seeing that smile. They spent the morning quietly. Ara helped with simple chores. She folded laundry with precise movements. Every shirt was perfect, every towel aligned. Too perfect for an 8-year-old. "Where did you learn to fold clothes that way?" Amara asked. Ara's hands stilled. "My mom taught me, before she got sick." "Is your mom better now?" Ara's face closed off. She shook her head and continued folding. Another piece of the puzzle: sick mother, missing father who didn't know where she was. Expensive clothes, but running away from home. Amara felt worried. Whatever Ara was running from, it was serious. The afternoon passed peacefully. Ara helped prepare lunch. She moved around the kitchen carefully, testing boundaries, asking permission for everything. When Maya came home from school, Ara's face transformed. Joy replaced caution. "How was your day?" Maya asked, dropping her backpack. "Good," Ara said. "Amara taught me to make soup." Maya looked surprised. "You talked to her?" Ara nodded proudly. The three of them ate dinner together. Maya shared stories from school. Ara listened intently, occasionally asking quiet questions. Amara watched them interact and felt something settling in her chest. This felt right, like family. But she knew it couldn't last. Someone would come looking eventually. As if summoned by her thoughts, a loud knock echoed from the front door. All three of them froze. The knock came again, harder, more insistent. Ara's face went white with terror. "Hide," she whispered frantically. "Please hide me." The knocking grew louder, more demanding. Amara's heart raced. Ara had scrambled behind the couch, pressing herself against the wall. Maya stood frozen in the middle of the room. "Who is it?" Amara called. No answer, just more pounding. She moved to the door and looked through the peephole. 3 men stood in the hallway. Dark suits, serious faces. One of them was massive, with scars across his knuckles. None of them looked like police. "Open the door," one of them called. His voice was cold, commanding. Amara felt fear spreading through her body. These weren't social workers or school officials. These men were dangerous. Behind the couch, Ara was crying silently. Her whole body shook. "I'm calling the police," Amara shouted through the door. "We are the police," the voice replied, but something in his tone suggested otherwise. Maya moved toward Ara's hiding spot. "What do we do?" she whispered. Amara's mind raced. She could call 911, but what if these men really were police? What if hiding Ara made things worse? The knocking stopped. Footsteps moved away from the door. Amara waited, barely breathing. Maybe they'd given up. Then she heard the unmistakable sound of a key in the lock. Her blood turned to ice. The door opened slowly. A man stepped inside. Tall, dark hair, expensive suit that probably cost more than Amara's car. His eyes scanned the apartment methodically. Behind him, the 2 larger men flanked the doorway. Their hands rested inside their jackets. The man's gaze found Amara. His eyes were dark, calculating, empty of warmth. "Where is she?" he asked. His voice was quiet, controlled, more terrifying than shouting. "Where is who?" Amara managed. "My daughter." Amara felt her stomach drop. This was Ara's father. The resemblance was unmistakable now that she saw him. Same dark eyes, same delicate bone structure. But where Ara looked scared, he looked deadly. "I don't know what you're talking about," Amara said. Something shifted in his expression, annoyance mixed with impatience. "Miss Lewis," he said. "I know she's here." The fact that he knew her name made everything worse. These weren't random intruders. They'd been watching, planning. "How did you get in?" she asked. "That's not important." He stepped further into the apartment. His movements were controlled, predatory. "What's important is that you return what belongs to me." Amara felt anger rising above fear. "She's not property." His eyes found hers with sharp focus. "She's my daughter, and she's terrified of you." The words slipped out before Amara could stop them. The man's face went completely still. Behind the couch, Ara whimpered quietly. The man heard it. His head turned toward the sound. "Ara," he said. "Come out." Silence. "Now." His voice carried absolute authority. Amara had never heard anyone speak with such commanding presence. Slowly, Ara emerged from behind the couch. Her face was streaked with tears. Her entire body trembled. When the man saw her, something flickered across his features. Pain, maybe, or regret. But it disappeared quickly. "Come here," he said gently. Ara didn't move. She looked at Amara with desperate eyes. The man followed her gaze. His attention focused on Amara with laser intensity. "What did you tell her?" he asked. "Nothing," Amara said. "She was scared when she got here." "Scared of what?" Amara hesitated. The man stepped closer. She could see details now. Expensive watch, manicured nails, a small scar along his jawline. "Answer me," he said quietly. "I don't know," Amara said. She wouldn't say. The man studied her face, looking for lies, signs of deception. Behind him, one of the large men shifted impatiently. His hand moved inside his jacket. Ara saw the movement. She ran toward Amara and grabbed her arm. "Don't let them take me," she whispered. The room went completely silent. The man stared at his daughter, clinging to a stranger instead of coming to him. His jaw tightened, his hands clenched into fists. "She doesn't even know you," he said to Amara. "She knows I won't hurt her," Amara replied. Something dangerous flashed in his eyes. "And I will?" Amara looked down at Ara. The girl was pressed against her side, using her as a shield. "She seems to think so," Amara said. The man was quiet for a long moment. His gaze moved between Amara and Ara, calculating, processing. "What's your name?" he asked. "Amara." "Amara." He tested the word. "You've taken something that doesn't belong to you. She came here on her own. She's 8 years old. And she was running from something." His voice turned deadly soft. "From me." Amara felt trapped. Every answer seemed dangerous, but Ara was counting on her. "Maybe," she said. The word hung in the air. Electric. Challenging. The man stepped closer. Close enough that Amara could see gold flecks in his dark eyes. Close enough to feel the danger radiating from him. "You have no idea who I am," he said. "I know you're scaring your daughter. And you think you can protect her from me?" The question was almost amused, but there was steel underneath. Amara lifted her chin. "I can try." Something shifted in his expression. Surprise, maybe, or respect. Behind him, the large man spoke for the first time. "Sir, we should go." The man ignored him. His attention stayed fixed on Amara. "You live in this building alone with your sister," he said. "You work 2 jobs. You owe 3 months' rent. Your sister is failing math." Amara felt cold. He knew everything about her life. "You're vulnerable," he continued. "Exposed, easy to hurt. Threat. Clear and unmistakable." But then his eyes moved to Ara, still clinging to Amara's side. "And yet you're standing between me and my daughter." "Yes. Why?" Amara looked down at Ara. The girl's tear-stained face looked back at her trustingly. "Because she asked me to," Amara said. The man was quiet for a very long time. His expression was unreadable. Finally, he spoke to Ara directly. "Do you want to come home?" he asked. Ara shook her head. "Do you want to stay here?" Ara nodded. The man's breath caught almost imperceptibly. Pain flickered across his face again. He looked at Amara one more time. Something had changed in his eyes. The calculation was still there, but something else had joined it. "One night," he said. "Then we discussed terms." He turned and walked toward the door. The 2 large men followed. At the threshold, he paused without turning around. "My name is Kang Jun-ho," he said. "And Miss Lewis?" "Yes." "Don't run." The door closed behind them with a soft click. Amara stood frozen in the middle of her apartment. Her heart pounded so hard she could hear it. Ara was still pressed against her side. Maya hadn't moved from her spot by the wall. "Who was that?" Maya whispered. Amara didn't answer. She was replaying every word of the conversation, every look, every threat. Kang Jun-ho. The name meant something. She'd heard it before. Whispered in news reports, mentioned in hushed conversations. Korean Mafia. Her blood turned to ice. "Amara." Ara's voice was tiny. "Are you okay?" Amara looked down at the girl, 8 years old, daughter of one of Seoul's most dangerous men, hiding in her run-down apartment. "I'm fine," she said automatically. But she wasn't fine. Nothing about this was fine. She walked to the window and looked out at the street. 3 black SUVs were parked below. Men in dark suits stood beside them, watching, waiting. "They're still here," Maya said, joining her at the window. Amara nodded. Junho had said one night, but his men were making sure she didn't run. Not that she could. Where would they go? How far would they get before being caught? She closed the curtains and turned back to Ara. "Are you hungry?" she asked. The question sounded absurd, normal. But normalcy felt important right now. Ara nodded. "Can we have soup again?" "Of course." They moved to the kitchen. Amara went through the motions of heating soup and making sandwiches. Her hands shook slightly, but she tried to hide it. Ara watched her carefully, reading her fear. "I'm sorry," Ara said quietly. "For what?" "For bringing trouble." Amara knelt down so they were eye level. Ara's face was so young, so vulnerable. "You didn't bring trouble," Amara said. "You needed help, but now you're scared." Amara felt her heart breaking. This child was worried about her after everything she'd been through. "I am scared," Amara admitted, "but that doesn't mean I regret helping you." Something shifted in Ara's expression. Gratitude mixed with something deeper. Affection, maybe, or trust. "Will you send me away?" Ara asked. The question cut deep. Amara could see the fear behind it, the expectation of abandonment. "No," she said firmly. "I won't send you away." "Promise?" "Promise." They ate dinner in relative quiet. Maya kept glancing at the windows. Ara picked at her food nervously. Amara tried to think through their options. Running wasn't possible with men watching the building. Calling the police felt dangerous when she didn't understand the full situation. And underneath everything was the growing certainty that Junho wasn't going away. After dinner, she helped the girls with homework. Normal activities in an abnormal situation. Maya struggled with math while Ara completed advanced worksheets that looked too difficult for her age. "Where did you get these?" Amara asked, looking at Ara's homework. "Private tutor," Ara said. 3 hours every day after school. "Do you like it?" Ara shrugged. "It's what I'm supposed to do." Another piece of the puzzle. Isolated education, high expectations, rigid control. No wonder she'd run. As bedtime approached, Ara grew more anxious. She kept looking toward the front door. "He won't come back tonight," Amara said. "He promised one night." "He keeps his promises." "I think so." Ara nodded, but didn't look convinced. They prepared for bed like the night before. Ara changed into Maya's clothes and made her nest of blankets on the floor. But when Amara started to leave, Ara grabbed her hand again. "Stay," she whispered. Amara sat on the floor beside her. Ara's hand was cold and small. "Will you tell me about your mum?" Ara asked. The question surprised her. "What do you want to know?" "Was she kind?" "Very kind. She made the best pancakes, and she sang while she cooked." Ara smiled sadly. "My mum sang too, before she got sick." "What happened to her?" Ara's face clouded. "Cancer. Daddy couldn't fix it. He tried everything, but nothing worked." Amara felt sympathy for Junho despite everything. Losing a spouse to cancer was devastating. Watching your child grieve was worse. "How long ago?" she asked. 2 years. I haven't talked much since then." "Until today," Ara nodded. "You make it easier somehow." Amara squeezed her hand gently. "You make it easier for me too. Really, really. Taking care of people makes me feel useful." Ara was quiet for a moment. "Is that why you take care of Maya?" "Partly, but mostly because I love her. Do you think—" Ara hesitated. "Do you think you could love me too?" The question broke Amara's heart. So much longing in such a small voice. "I already do," she said truthfully. Ara's breath caught. Happy tears filled her eyes. "I love you too," she whispered. They held hands until Ara fell asleep. Amara stayed longer than necessary, watching her peaceful face. Tomorrow, Junho would come back. Tomorrow everything would change. But tonight this little girl felt safe and loved. It was enough. Morning came too quickly. Amara woke up on the couch again, her phone buzzing insistently. Messages from her boss at both jobs. Missed calls from Maya's school. Real life demanding attention while her world balanced on a knife's edge. Ara and Maya were already awake in the kitchen. Ara had helped make breakfast again. She moved around the apartment with growing confidence. "Good morning," Amara said. Both girls smiled at her. Normal domestic bliss that felt surreal given the circumstances. Amara's phone rang. her boss at the diner. "You missed your shift yesterday," he said without preamble. "And you're not here today. I'm sorry. Family emergency. This is the third emergency this month, Amara. I like you, but I need reliable employees." The line went dead. Amara stared at her phone. Another job lost. Another source of income gone. "Bad news?" Maya asked. "Just work stuff," Amara said. But it wasn't just work stuff. It was everything. Bills piling up, social services scheduling visits. A dangerous man's daughter living in her apartment. Her life was spiraling out of control. At exactly 9 a.m., someone knocked on the door. All three of them froze. The knock was different this time. Polite, patient. Amara approached the door carefully and looked through the peephole. A woman stood in the hallway. 30s, professional clothing, kind face. She held a briefcase. "Miss Lewis," she called. "I'm from social services. We have an appointment." Amara's heart stopped. Today. The home visit was today. She looked back at Ara and Maya. Ara's face had gone white with panic. "1 minute," Amara called. She rushed to Ara. "You need to hide," she whispered. "If they find you here, they'll take Maya away too." Ara nodded frantically. She ran to Maya's bedroom and disappeared into the closet. Maya looked confused. "What's happening?" "Social worker," Amara said. "Just act normal." She opened the door. The woman smiled warmly. "Miss Lewis, I'm Sandra Park. We spoke about Maya's school attendance." "Of course. Come in." Sandra entered and looked around the apartment. Her eyes took in every detail. The modest furniture, the clean but worn surfaces, the stack of bills on the kitchen table. "Is Maya home?" Sandra asked. "She's in her room," Amara said. "Maya." Maya appeared, looking nervous. "Hi." "Hello, Maya. I'm Sandra. I work with families to make sure everyone has what they need." Sandra's approach was gentle, non-threatening, but Amara felt terrified anyway. "May I look around?" Sandra asked. Of course. Amara followed as Sandra examined the apartment. Kitchen stocked with basic food, bathroom clean but dated, living room organized but sparse. In Maya's bedroom, Sandra checked for adequate sleeping space and clothing. Ara's nest of blankets had been hidden, no sign of a second child. "Everything looks appropriate," Sandra said. "Maya, do you feel safe here?" "Yes," Maya said. "Amara takes really good care of me. Are you getting enough to eat?" "Yes." "Going to school regularly?" Maya hesitated. "Mostly." Sandra made notes in her file. "Maya, could you give us a few minutes alone?" Maya left reluctantly. Sandra turned to Amara. "The school is concerned about Maya's attendance," she said. "Can you explain the absences?" Amara felt trapped. She had a cold last week, and a dental appointment. 3 days for a cold? She has a weak immune system. Sandra nodded but continued writing. "What about your employment situation?" "I work 2 jobs. Sometimes the schedules conflict with school pickup." "Who watches Maya when you're working?" Another dangerous question. "She's old enough to be alone for short periods." "At 13. That's legal, but not ideal." "Do you have backup childcare?" "Not really." More notes. Sandra's expression remained kind but professional. "Miss Lewis, I can see you're doing your best in difficult circumstances, but Maya needs stability, consistent school attendance, adequate supervision." Amara felt panic rising. "She has all of that. The evidence suggests otherwise." Sandra closed her file. "I'm not removing Maya today, but we'll need to see improvements quickly." "What kind of improvements?" "Regular school attendance, stable employment, emergency childcare plan." Sandra paused. "And Miss Lewis, Maya mentioned you have a friend staying over occasionally. If you're taking in other children, even informally, that requires different licensing." Amara's blood turned cold. Maya had mentioned Ara. "It's just a friend from school," Amara said quickly. "Occasional sleepovers." "I understand. Just be aware of the regulations." Sandra packed up her briefcase. "I'll be back in 2 weeks. We need to see progress by then." After she left, Amara sat heavily on the couch. Maya emerged from her room, followed by Ara from the closet. "Are they taking me away?" Maya asked. "Not if I can help it," Amara said, but the words felt empty. Ara moved to sit beside her. "I'm making things worse," she said quietly. "No," Amara said firmly. "You're not." But privately, she wondered how much more her life could take, losing jobs. Social services investigations. A crime boss's daughter hiding in her apartment. Something had to give. The knock on the door came at exactly noon, soft but unmistakable. Jun-ho had returned. Amara looked at Ara. The girl's face was resigned, sad, but not surprised. "I have to go with him," Ara said quietly. "You don't have to do anything," Amara replied, but even as she said it, she knew it wasn't true. Jun-ho held all the power here. The knock came again, patient but insistent. Amara opened the door. Jun-ho stood alone this time, no bodyguards, no threatening presence, just a man in an expensive suit looking tired. His eyes found Ara immediately. Something soft flickered across his face. "Are you ready?" he asked gently. Ara stood up slowly. She walked toward him with dragging steps, but at the last moment, she turned back to Amara. "Thank you," she said, "for everything." Then she did something that surprised everyone. She hugged Amara tightly. Amara felt tears threatening. This brave little girl had found courage when she needed it most. When Ara released her, she looked up at her father. "Can I come back?" she asked. Jun-ho's expression was unreadable. "We'll see." He took Ara's hand gently. No force, no commands. They walked toward the door together. But at the threshold, Jun-ho paused. "Miss Lewis?" he said without turning around. "Yes, this isn't over." The words could have been a threat, but something in his tone suggested otherwise. He looked back at her one final time. His dark eyes held questions she didn't understand. Then he was gone, taking Ara with him. The apartment felt empty without her. Hollow. Maya sat beside Amara on the couch. "Will we see her again?" "I don't know," Amara said honestly, but she hoped so. Despite the danger, despite the complications, she already missed that little girl. 3 days passed in strange quiet. No sign of Ara or Jun-ho. No mysterious cars on the street. Amara tried to return to normal. She found a new job waiting tables at a restaurant closer to home. Maya's school attendance improved, but everything felt different, empty. Maya asked about Ara constantly. Where was she? Was she safe? Would she come back? Amara had no answers. On Thursday afternoon, Maya burst through the apartment door with unusual excitement. "She's here," Maya shouted. "Ara's here." Amara looked up from her laptop, where she'd been job hunting online. Through the window, she saw a black sedan parked on the street. Footsteps in the hallway, a polite knock. Amara opened the door. A woman stood there, professional clothing, serious expression. Behind her, Ara waited quietly. "Miss Lewis, I'm Han Soo-min. I work for Mr. Kang." Amara's attention went straight to Ara. The girl looked tired but unhurt. She wore the same expensive clothing as before. "Hi, Ara," Amara said gently. Ara's face brightened. "Hi, Amara." Soo-min cleared her throat. "Mr. Kang has asked me to escort Ara for visits, if that's acceptable to you." "Visits?" "A few hours, supervised. He felt it might be beneficial." Amara looked at Ara. The girl's eyes were pleading, hopeful. "Of course," Amara said. "Come in." Soo-min hesitated at the threshold. "I'll need to stay with her." "I understand." They entered the apartment. Soo-min positioned herself near the window where she could watch the street. Ara ran to hug Maya. "I missed you," Ara said. "I missed you too. How's your house?" Ara's face clouded. "Quiet." The girls went to Maya's room to play. Soo-min remained stationed by the window. She spoke into a small radio occasionally. "How is she?" Amara asked. Soo-min glanced toward the bedroom where laughter was coming from. "Better when she's here." "And at home." Soo-min's expression was carefully neutral. "She's adjusting." The non-answer told Amara everything. Ara was struggling. They spent the afternoon quietly. Ara helped with simple chores like before. She and Maya worked on homework together. But when evening approached, Ara's mood shifted. She became quieter, more withdrawn. "Time to go," Soo-min said gently. Ara's shoulders slumped. She hugged Maya goodbye, then turned to Amara. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For letting me come back." Amara knelt down. "You're always welcome here." Ara's eyes filled with tears. Happy ones this time. After they left, Maya was unusually quiet. "What's wrong?" Amara asked. "She seemed sadder when she had to leave," Maya said. "I like it hurt more this time." Amara nodded. She'd noticed it too. The visits were helping Ara connect again, but they were also highlighting what she was missing at home. That night, Amara lay awake thinking about Jun-ho. Why was he allowing these visits? What did he hope to accomplish? And underneath everything, a growing certainty. This arrangement couldn't last forever. Something would have to change. The visits became routine. Every few days, Sumin would bring Ara for a few hours. They would cook together, do homework, play with Maya. Ara grew more confident with each visit, more talkative, more willing to laugh. But she also grew more reluctant to leave. After 2 weeks, the pattern shifted. Instead of Sumin bringing Ara to the door, she called from downstairs. "Mr. Kang would like to speak with you," she said. Amara's heart jumped. "About what?" "He's waiting downstairs." Amara looked at Maya and Ara, who were working on a puzzle together. "I'll be right back." Outside the building, Jun-ho leaned against a black sedan. He looked less formal than before, dark jeans and a sweater instead of a suit, but no less dangerous. "Miss Lewis," he said when she approached. "Mr. Kang." They stood in awkward silence for a moment. Amara studied his face, the sharp angles, the tired eyes. "How the visits are working," he said finally. "Ara seems happier." "She is." He paused. "At home, she barely speaks, barely eats. But here she's a normal 8-year-old. Something painful flickered across his features. "Yes." Another long silence. Traffic moved past them on the busy street. "What do you want from me?" Amara asked. Jun-ho's eyes found hers. "I want you to help my daughter." "I am helping her." "No." "I mean permanently." Amara felt confused. "What does that mean?" "Move in. With her. Full time." The words hit her suddenly. She stared at him in shock. "Move in where?" "My house. Be her caregiver, nanny. Whatever title makes you comfortable." Amara's mind raced. "What about Maya?" "She comes too. And my jobs." "You wouldn't need jobs. I'd pay you. More than you make now." The offer was tempting. Financial security. A safe place for Maya. The chance to help Ara full-time, but also dangerous. Moving into Jun-ho's world. Becoming dependent on a man who controlled everything. "I need time to think," she said. "How much time?" "A few days." Jun-ho nodded. "Think carefully, Miss Lewis. Ara needs stability. You provide that. And if I say no..." Something hard entered his eyes. Then the visits end. Threat, clear and unmistakable, but also desperation underneath. He loved his daughter. That much was obvious, but he didn't know how to reach her. "I'll give you an answer soon," Amara said. Jun-ho nodded and got back in his car. As it pulled away, Amara saw Ara's face in the back window. The girl was watching her with hope and fear mixed together. Upstairs, Maya and Ara looked at her expectantly. "What did he want?" Maya asked. Amara sat down between them. "He offered me a job." "What kind of job?" Ara asked quietly. "Taking care of you. Full-time." Ara's face lit up completely. "Really? It would mean moving to your house. Both Maya and me." Maya looked uncertain. "What about school? Our friends?" "Different school. New friends." "What about our apartment?" "Good question. This place wasn't much, but it was theirs. Independence. Freedom." "I don't know yet," Amara said honestly. Ara took her hand. "Would you consider it? Please." The pleading in her voice was heartbreaking. This child wanted so desperately to feel connected. Loved. "I'll consider it," Amara promised. That night, she lay awake weighing options. Financial security versus independence. Safety versus freedom. Ara's needs versus Maya's comfort. There was no clear answer. Every choice came with risks. But one thing was certain. Ara needed her. And maybe, despite everything, she needed Ara too. The thought both terrified and comforted her. Tomorrow, she would have to decide. Tonight, she listened to the sounds of the city outside her window and wondered what home really meant. Was it a place, a feeling, a choice to stay, even when staying was hard? She didn't know yet, but she was beginning to understand why Ara had whispered that single word the first night they met. Stay. Sometimes staying was the bravest thing you could do, even when everything else was uncertain, even when the future was unclear, even when staying meant everything would change. Amara closed her eyes and made her choice. Tomorrow she would tell Jun-ho yes, for Ara, for Maya, for the strange family they were becoming despite all odds. Tomorrow, everything would change. But tonight, they were together, and that was enough. Amara stood outside Junho's building and felt overwhelmed. Glass and steel stretched 30 stories into the Seoul sky. Doormen in expensive uniforms opened heavy doors. Everything screamed wealth and power. "This is it," she whispered to Maya. Maya pressed closer to her side. 2 suitcases held everything they owned, everything that mattered from their old life. Sumin waited beside a black sedan. "Mr. Kang is expecting you." The elevator rose silently to the penthouse. Amara's ears popped from the altitude. Maya stared at the floor numbers climbing higher. "Are you scared?" Maya asked quietly. "A little," Amara admitted. The doors opened directly into Junho's home. Not a hallway, not a lobby. Straight into the most beautiful apartment Amara had ever seen. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed the entire city. Modern furniture in blacks and greys created perfect geometric arrangements. Everything looked expensive, untouchable, cold. Junho emerged from what looked like an office. He wore dark jeans and a white shirt, more casual than she'd seen him before. "Miss Lewis, Maya, welcome." His voice was formal, polite, but his eyes found Amara's with intensity that made her stomach flutter. Ara appeared from behind him. She ran straight to Amara and hugged her tightly. "You came," Ara said. "You really came." "I promised I would." Ara's smile lit up the entire room. Maya relaxed slightly at seeing her friend so happy. "Let me show you around," Junho said. The tour revealed more luxury than Amara could process. A kitchen with professional-grade appliances, a dining room that could seat 12, a living room bigger than her entire old apartment. "This is your room," Junho said, opening a door. Amara stepped inside and felt her breath catch. King-sized bed with white linens. Walk-in closet already stocked with clothes in her exact size. Bathroom with a marble tub. "How did you know my size?" she asked. "I pay attention to details." Something in his tone made her look at him sharply. His expression was unreadable. "Maya's room is next door," he continued, "connected to yours through this bathroom." Maya's room was decorated for a teenager. Purple and silver with modern furniture. A desk for homework. Bookshelves already filled with new books. "Do you like it?" Ara asked Maya anxiously. Maya nodded slowly. "It's beautiful. But it doesn't feel like mine." Amara understood. Everything was perfect. Too perfect. Like living in a magazine. "Ara's room is across the hall," Junho said, "in case you need to check on her at night." More evidence of how carefully he'd planned this arrangement. Every detail considered, every need anticipated, except the need to feel at home. They returned to the main living area. Junho gestured toward the kitchen. "Cook whatever you like. Buy whatever you need. The credit card is in your name." He handed her a black card with her name embossed in silver letters. No spending limit listed. "What exactly do you expect me to do?" Amara asked. "Take care of Ara. Help her be happy. And Maya? Maya is welcome here, but Ara is the priority." His bluntness surprised her. Most people tried to pretend all children mattered equally. "What about your work?" she asked. "Kat, will you be here often?" Something shifted in his expression. "My work requires travel, late nights. You'll have primary responsibility." Translation: he would avoid them. Provide money and security, but maintain distance. Amara felt disappointed. She'd hoped for more involvement, more connection between Ara and her father. "There are rules," Junho continued. "No visitors without permission, no leaving the building without security, no questions about my business. And if I break the rules," his eyes found hers with dangerous intensity, "don't break the rules." That evening, they ate dinner together at the massive dining table. Ara chattered happily about her day. Maya remained quiet and watchful. Junho ate methodically. He answered Ara's questions with patience but little warmth. "Daddy," Ara said, "can Amara read me a story tonight?" "If she wants to." "Can you read with us?" Junho hesitated. Pain flickered across his features. "I have work to finish." Ara's face fell. "You always have work." The words hung in the air. Junho's jaw tightened. "Work pays for this house. Your clothes, your food. I don't care about those things," Ara said quietly. "Now you will when you're older. I just want you to stay with me sometimes." Junho stood abruptly. "I'll be in my office." He left without another word. Ara stared at her plate with tears threatening. Amara reached over and took her hand. He loves you. He just doesn't know how to show it. How do you know? Because he brought us here. For you. Ara nodded, but didn't look convinced. That night, Amara read stories while Ara curled against her side. Maya sat on the bed listening. It felt normal despite the luxury surrounding them. When Ara fell asleep, Amara tucked her in and kissed her forehead. In the hallway, she found Junho standing outside his office door. "Is she asleep?" he asked. "Yes." He nodded and turned to go back inside. "She needs you," Amara said quietly. Junho stopped. "She needs stability, safety. Things I can provide. She needs her father to love her. I do love her. Then show her." Something dangerous flashed in his eyes. "You've been here one day. Don't presume to understand our relationship. I understand that she's lonely. She has you now." The word stung like she was a replacement instead of an addition. "I can't replace you," Amara said. "You're not replacing me. You're giving her what I can't." Which is warmth. The single word revealed more than he probably intended. Junho saw himself as cold, incapable of the gentle affection Ara craved. "You could learn," Amara said. "No." His voice was final. "I couldn't." He disappeared into his office. The door closed with a soft click. Amara stood alone in the hallway, feeling frustrated. Junho was deliberately keeping distance from his daughter, building walls instead of bridges. She'd agreed to help Ara, but she was beginning to realize the real problem wasn't Ara's silence. It was her father's emotional absence. The first week established routines. Amara woke early to make breakfast. Maya and Ara got ready for their new school. Junho left before they were awake and returned after they were asleep, avoiding them completely. Ara grew more animated each day. She laughed during meals. She helped with cooking. She chatted about school friends, but always, she watched the door, waiting for her father to join them. He never did. Maya adapted more slowly. The luxury made her uncomfortable. She missed their old neighborhood, their old life. "It feels like a prison," Maya told Amara privately. "A really nice prison." Amara understood. Security guards monitored every entrance. Cameras watched every hallway. They couldn't leave without permission. Safety came at the cost of freedom. On Thursday afternoon, Amara was helping with homework when Sumin appeared. "Mr. Kang wants to see you," she said, in his office. Amara found Junho standing behind a massive desk. Computer screens showed security footage from around the building. "Sit," he said without looking up. She took the chair across from his desk. His office reflected his personality. Clean lines, dark colors. No personal touches except a single photograph. A woman holding a baby. Both had dark hair and gentle smiles. Ara and her mother. "There's been a development," Junho said. "Someone left this for you." He slid an envelope across the desk. Amara's name was written in block letters across the front. "Where did you find this?" "Taped to your old apartment door." Amara felt cold. "Someone was watching my old building." "Yes." She opened the envelope. A single sheet of paper with a typed message. "The woman and children are not safe. Kang's protection has limits." Amara's hands shook. "Who sent this?" "Li Huan, a business rival." "What kind of business?" Junho's eyes found hers. "The kind where rivals don't retire peacefully." "Mafia." He was confirming what she'd suspected. "What does he want?" she asked. "To hurt me, through people I care about." The admission surprised her. Junho cared about them. Maybe not warmly, but genuinely. "Are we actually in danger?" "Yes." His bluntness was terrifying. No sugarcoating, no false reassurance. "What do we do?" "Nothing changes. You stay here. Security increases. We wait." "Wait for what?" "For him to make a move so I can finish this." The words carried deadly certainty. Junho wasn't planning to negotiate. He was planning to eliminate the threat. "Should I tell Maya and Ara?" "No. They'll be frightened unnecessarily." Amara felt torn. The girls deserved to know about danger, but Ara was just starting to feel secure again. "How long?" she asked. "Until it's over." Not an answer. A postponement. Junho returned to his computer screens. "Sumin will escort you everywhere now, even inside the building." "I understand." She stood to leave but paused at the door. "That photograph on your desk. Tell me about her." Junho's hands stilled on the keyboard. My wife, Yuna? She was beautiful. Yes. His voice was barely a whisper. How did you meet? Why does that matter? Because Ara asks about her mother sometimes. I'd like to give her good memories. Something shifted in his expression, pain mixed with longing. University, he said finally. Literature class. She sat in front of me and took notes with perfect handwriting. Love at first sight. Fascination at first sight. Love took longer. The admission revealed unexpected depth. Junho had been capable of patience, of building something slowly. What was she like? Kind, gentle. Everything I'm not. And when she got sick, his jaw tightened. I tried everything. Every treatment, every experimental drug. Nothing worked. That must have been devastating. It was educational. Educational. It taught me that money and power can't fix everything. The bitter words carried years of grief. Junho had learned the limits of his control in the worst possible way. Ara stopped talking after the funeral. He continued. Nothing I said could reach her. Grief affects children differently. I don't know how to help her. The confession was barely audible. This powerful man felt helpless with his own daughter. You could start by spending time with her, Amara said gently. I make things worse. How? She looks at me and sees her mother's absence. I remind her of what she's lost. Amara felt sympathy for both of them, father and daughter grieving separately instead of together. Maybe she sees her mother's presence, Amara suggested. In you. Junho looked up sharply. Something vulnerable flickered in his eyes. You don't know what you're talking about, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. Amara left him staring at the photograph of his dead wife and living daughter. Security increased dramatically over the next few days. More guards in the lobby, additional cameras in the hallways. Sumin became their constant shadow. Maya noticed immediately. Why is she following us everywhere? Extra protection, Amara said. Nothing to worry about. But privately, she felt worried constantly. Every sound made her jump. Every stranger looked suspicious. Ara seemed oblivious to the changes. She was too happy having Amara and Maya close. Her laughter filled the penthouse with warmth. On Saturday morning, Amara found Junho in the kitchen. He stood at the counter drinking coffee and reading something on his phone. Good morning, she said. He looked up. Morning. They'd barely spoken since the conversation in his office. He remained distant, professional. The girls are still asleep, Amara said. I thought I'd make pancakes. They'd like that. She moved around the kitchen gathering ingredients. Junho watched her work with unreadable eyes. You don't have to stay, she said. I know you prefer to avoid us. I don't prefer anything. I'm protecting you. From what? From the reality of who I am. The words carried self-loathing. Junho saw himself as contamination, something dangerous to be near. Ara doesn't care who you are, Amara said. She cares that you're her father. And that's the problem. Why? Because I'll disappoint her. Eventually. Inevitably. Amara stopped mixing batter. You're disappointing her right now. Something sharp entered his eyes. Excuse me. She watches for you, waits for you, hopes you'll join us for dinner or bedtime stories. And I can't give her what she wants. Won't, not can't. The correction made his jaw tighten. There's no difference. There's every difference. They stared at each other across the kitchen island. Tension crackled between them. You think I should be different, Junho said quietly. I think you love her more than you admit. Love isn't enough. It's everything. Love didn't save my wife. The words hung in the air. Raw. Painful. Amara felt understanding wash over her. Junho was afraid to love Ara completely because love hadn't protected Yuna. Opening his heart meant risking more devastating loss. Your wife wouldn't want you to withdraw from Ara, she said gently. You didn't know my wife. I know mothers. They want their children to feel loved. Something cracked in his expression, grief mixed with longing. She used to sing to Ara, he said quietly. Every night, lullabies in Korean and English. What happened to the singing? It died with her. Maybe it's sleeping, waiting for the right moment to return. Junho looked at her with surprise, like he'd never considered the possibility. Before he could respond, Ara appeared in the doorway. Her hair was messy from sleep. Her pajamas were wrinkled. Daddy, she said. You're here. I was just leaving, Junho said automatically. Could you stay? For breakfast? The pleading in her voice was heartbreaking. Junho hesitated. Amara could see the war between his protective instincts and his love for Ara. "Please," Ara asked again. "Just for breakfast," he said finally. Ara's face transformed with joy. She ran to him and hugged his waist. Junho's arms came around her carefully, like she was made of glass. But he held her. For the first time since they'd moved in, they ate as a family. Ara chatted about school. Maya shared funny stories from her new friends. Junho listened quietly. Occasionally he asked questions, small ones, but genuine interest. When breakfast ended, Ara looked at him hopefully. "Will you stay longer?" she asked. "I have work to do." Her face fell. "You always have work. It's important work. More important than me." The question hit like a physical blow. Junho's breath caught. "No," he said quietly. "Nothing is more important than you." "Then why do you always leave?" Junho looked helpless, lost. He glanced at Amara with something like panic. "Because," Amara said gently, "sometimes grown-ups need quiet time to think about important things." "But that doesn't mean they don't want to be with you." Ara considered this. "What important things do you think about?" Junho's voice was barely audible. "How to keep you safe, how to be a good father, how to make your mother proud." Tears filled Ara's eyes. Not sad tears, happy ones. "Mommy would be proud," she said. "You take care of me every day, even when you're not here." Something shifted in Junho's expression, wonder mixed with pain. How do you know that?" he asked. "Because Amara told me. She said you brought her here to make me happy. That's what good fathers do." Junho looked at Amara over Ara's head. Gratitude flickered in his eyes. "Yes," he said, "that's what good fathers do." For a moment, they felt like a real family, connected, understanding. Then Junho's phone rang. Business, reality. "I have to take this," he said. He kissed the top of Ara's head and disappeared into his office, but something had changed. A crack in the wall he'd built around his heart. Small, but real. That afternoon, while the girls were reading in their rooms, Amara heard shouting from Junho's office. Multiple voices, angry tones. She crept closer to listen. "Juan's moving faster than expected," a man said. "Day 3 of our shipments intercepted this week. What about the warehouse fire?" Junho's voice was deadly calm. "Definitely arson, Juan's signature. Casualties? None, but millions in damages." Amara felt sick. This wasn't just business rivalry. This was war. "Sir," another voice said, "maybe we should consider negotiating." "No negotiations. But if something happens to you, nothing will happen to me, or to them." Them. Amara knew he meant her and the girls. "Increase security on the building," Junho continued, "and prepare the safe house." "Which one?" "The estate. If things escalate, we'll move them there immediately." Amara backed away from the door. Safe house, estate. They were planning for war. She found Maya and Ara in the living room. They looked so innocent, so unaware of the danger surrounding them. "What's wrong?" Maya asked. "Saj, you look scared." "Nothing's wrong," Amara lied. "Just thinking about dinner." But privately, she wondered what they'd gotten themselves into. That evening, Junho didn't come out of his office for dinner, or for Ara's bedtime. Ara waited as long as she could. Finally, she fell asleep on the couch. Amara carried her to bed and tucked her in. When she returned to the living room, Junho was standing by the windows. His shoulders were tense. His hands were clenched. "Long day?" Amara asked. "They're getting closer." "Juan's people," he turned sharply. "You were listening. I was worried. Don't worry, I'll handle it. By starting a war," something dangerous flashed in his eyes. "By finishing one. And if something happens to you?" "It won't. But if it does, what happens to Ara?" The question seemed to catch him off guard. "You'd take care of her." "I'm not family. I'm just the nanny." "You're more than that." The admission surprised them both. Junho's expression became guarded. "What I mean is," he said carefully, "Ara trusts you. She trusts you too, when you let her. This morning was a mistake. Why? Because it gave her false hope. Hope that her father loves her. That's not false. Hope that I can be normal, safe, good for her." Amara stepped closer. "You are good for her. You don't know what I do, the things I'm capable of. I don't care what you do, I care who you are with her. And who am I with her? Gentle, patient, Afraid. The last word made him flinch. Afraid of what? He asked. Of losing her the way you lost your wife. Something cracked in his expression. Pain flooded his face. Every day, he whispered. Every moment. The terror never stops. So you push her away before life can take her from you. Yes. The honesty was devastating. This powerful man lived in constant fear of loss. But pushing her away is a different kind of losing her, Amara said gently. Junho closed his eyes. I don't know how to stop. Start small. Bedtime stories. Family dinners. Being present. And when something happens to me, then she'll have good memories instead of regrets. He opened his eyes and looked at her with something like wonder. How are you so certain about everything? I'm not certain about anything. I'm terrified every day that I'm failing Maya, failing you, failing Ara. You're not failing anyone. Neither are you. You're just scared. They stood in the dim living room looking at each other. Something passed between them. Understanding, recognition. I should go to bed, Amara said finally. Yes. But neither of them moved. The air felt charged, electric. Junho's voice was rough. Amara. Yes. Thank you. For this morning. For helping me see. He stopped. Shook his head. What? She asked. That maybe I'm not completely broken. The vulnerability in his words made her chest tight. This man who terrified others was terrified himself. You're not broken, she said. You're grieving. Is there a difference? Grief heals, eventually if you let it. And if I don't, then you miss the rest of your life. And so does Ara. Something shifted in his expression, resolve mixed with fear. Will you help me? He asked quietly. Learn how to be her father again. You never stopped being her father. Learn how to be better then. The request was humble, hopeful, real. Yes, Amara said. I'll help you. Relief flooded his face. Thank you. They said good night and went to their separate rooms. But something had changed between them. Trust, partnership, the beginning of something deeper. Amara lay in her luxurious bed and thought about the conversation. Junho was nothing like she'd expected. Underneath the power and control was a broken man trying to protect what mattered most. And somehow, she'd become part of what mattered to him. The thought both thrilled and terrified her. Tomorrow things would be different, better, if they survived whatever Juan was planning. The next morning, Junho kept his word. He ate breakfast with them. He asked about their weekend plans. He listened when Ara told him about her art project. Small steps, but real ones. After the girls went to play, he helped Amara clean the kitchen. This feels strange, he admitted. How good strange or bad strange? Terrifying strange, Amara smiled. That means you're doing it right. They worked in comfortable silence. Junho dried dishes while Amara washed them. Domestic. Normal. Can I ask you something? Amara said. Yes. Why did you really bring us here? The real reason? Junho was quiet for a long moment. Ara was disappearing, a little more each day. I was losing her to grief and I didn't know how to bring her back. And now she laughs, she talks, she's alive again. Because she feels safe. Because she feels loved. By you. The words carried gratitude, but also something else. Envy, maybe. She wants to feel loved by you too, Amara said. I know. I'm trying. It shows. They finished the dishes in companionable quiet. When they were done, Junho lingered in the kitchen. And what happens now, he asked. Now you spend time with your daughter. Read her stories. Tuck her in at night. Be present. And the business, the danger? You handle that too. But separately. Don't let one contaminate the other. Is that possible? You'll find out. That afternoon, Junho surprised everyone by suggesting a movie. They gathered in the living room with popcorn and blankets. Ara curled against her father's side. Maya sat beside Amara. For 2 hours, they felt like a normal family. When the movie ended, Ara was half asleep. Time for bed, Amara said. Can Daddy tuck me in? Ara asked drowsily. Junho's breath caught. If you want me to. I always want you to. Something broke and healed in his expression simultaneously. He carried Ara to her room. Amara followed to help with pajamas and teeth brushing. When Ara was ready for bed, she looked at her father expectantly. Will you tell me about Mommy? She asked. Junho sat on the edge of her bed. His hands shook slightly. What do you want to know? Did she love me before I was born? So much. She talked to you every day while you were still in her tummy? Ara smiled. What did she say? She told you about the world you were coming into, the flowers she wanted to show you, the songs she wanted to teach you. Do you remember the songs? Junho's voice cracked. Tear to some of them. Will you sing one? The request seemed to terrify him. I don't sing, Ara. Mommy did. Yes, she had a beautiful voice. Maybe I could try. And you could help. Ara's innocent suggestion hung in the air. Junho looked at Amara helplessly. Just try, Amara whispered. For her. Junho closed his eyes. When he opened them, something had changed. Determination replaced fear. His voice was rough, uncertain, but he began to hum a simple melody. Ara's face lit up with recognition and joy. Slowly, words emerged, Korean lullaby phrases that he remembered from Yuna's singing. Ara joined in with her small, sweet voice, father and daughter creating music together for the first time since her mother died. Amara felt tears threatening. This was healing, real and beautiful and necessary. When the song ended, Ara hugged her father tightly. Thank you. Daddy? Thank you for asking. Junho kissed her forehead and stood to leave. Daddy? Yes. Will you sing with me again tomorrow? If you want me to. I always want you to. In the hallway, Junho leaned against the wall. His eyes were bright with unshed tears. That was beautiful, Amara said. She remembered. The melody. Yuna's melody. Music lives in families. It passes down. I thought it died with her. Nothing that beautiful ever really dies. Junho looked at her with something like awe. How do you always know the right thing to say? I don't. I just say what I feel. And what do you feel now? The question was loaded. Dangerous. Amara could feel the shift in energy between them. Hopeful, she said carefully. About tomorrow. About Ara. About you learning to trust yourself. And about us. The words slipped out before he could stop them. Junho's eyes widened slightly. What about us? Amara asked quietly. I don't know. That's the problem. They stood in the hallway looking at each other. The air felt charged again, electric with possibility. I should say good night, Amara said. Yes, but neither moved. The moment stretched between them. Then Junho's phone buzzed. Reality intruded. He checked the message and his face went hard. What is it? Amara asked. Juan. He's escalating. How? Details don't matter, but we need to leave. Tonight. Fear shot through Amara. Leave for where? Somewhere safer, more remote. What about the girls? School. Their routines. There are no routines if we're dead. The bluntness was terrifying. Amara felt their fragile progress crumbling. How long? She asked. I don't know. Until it's over. And when will it be over? Junho's voice carried deadly certainty. When Juan is no longer a threat. An hour later, they were packed and in the elevator. Ara held Amara's hand tightly. Maya looked scared but determined. Where are we going? Ara asked. Somewhere safe, Junho said. Somewhere beautiful. Will you come with us? For a while? Yes. The answer surprised everyone, including Junho himself. Outside, 3 black SUVs waited. Armed men stood at attention. As they drove through Seoul's empty streets, Amara watched the city disappear behind them. Whatever came next, there was no going back. They were heading into the unknown, together. The estate appeared through morning fog like something from a fairy tale. Stone walls surrounded manicured gardens. The main house stretched 3 stories with traditional Korean architecture, mixed with modern security features. It's beautiful, Ara whispered. Amara agreed. This place felt different from the penthouse. Warmer, more like a home. Junho helped them out of the SUV. His men spread out around the property, setting up defensive positions. How long has this place been in your family? Amara asked. My grandfather built it before the war. They walked toward the main entrance. Ara skipped ahead excitedly. Maya followed more cautiously. Inside, the house mixed old and new perfectly. Traditional wooden beams supported modern fixtures. Ancient artwork hung beside state-of-the-art security monitors. Your rooms are upstairs, Junho said. Same arrangement as before, but something in his tone suggested he might be closer this time, more present. The bedrooms were smaller than the penthouse, but infinitely more comfortable. Amara's room had windows overlooking the gardens. Maya's connected through a sitting area. Era's room was across the hall as before, but this one felt lived in. Personal touches suggested it had been her mother's childhood room. Daddy used to visit Grandma here, Ara explained. Before I was born, Mommy loved the garden. Did you come here with her? Once, when I was little. She showed me how to feed the koi fish. Amara looked out the window. The garden pond sparkled in morning sunlight. Colorful fish moved beneath the surface. We'll feed them together, she promised. That afternoon, they explored the grounds with armed guards trailing discreetly behind. Ara showed them the fish pond, the fruit trees, the greenhouse where her grandmother had grown orchids. Maya began to relax in the open space. The estate felt safer than the penthouse, less like a prison. Junho appeared as they were walking back to the house. How do you like it? He asked Ara. I love it. Can we stay here forever? Something painful flickered across his features. We'll see. That evening, they ate dinner in a smaller dining room. More intimate than the penthouse, family-sized, Junho stayed for the entire meal. He asked about their day. He listened to Ara's excited plans for tomorrow. Progress, real and visible. After dinner, Ara looked at him hopefully. Story time, she asked. Of course. They gathered in the living room. Junho sat in an armchair with Ara curled against his side. Amara and Maya settled on the couch nearby. The scene felt domestic, natural, right. Junho read with surprising skill, different voices for different characters, dramatic pauses at exciting moments. You're good at this, Amara said when the story ended. I read to her when she was a baby, before Yuna got sick, before grief changed everything. Kamas, maybe we could make it a tradition, Amara suggested. Every night, Junho nodded. I'd like that. Small commitments, building toward bigger ones. The next few days fell into comfortable patterns, mornings in the garden, afternoons exploring the estate, evenings reading together. Junho worked from a home office but emerged regularly. He joined them for meals. He tucked Ara in at night. He slowly began acting like a father again. Amara watched the transformation with wonder. Away from the city and his business pressures, Junho became gentler, more present, more himself. But the danger remained. Armed guards patrolled constantly. Security updates arrived hourly. Juan was still hunting. On Thursday morning, Amara found Junho in the garden. He stood beside the koi pond, looking troubled. Bad news? She asked. Juan hit 3 more of our operations. He's getting bolder. Does that mean we're safer here or in more danger? Safer. For now. The qualification was ominous. How long can this last? Amara asked. Until I decide to end it permanently. The words carried deadly certainty. Junho was planning something final. What does that mean for us, for the girls? You'll be protected, always. And you. He looked at her with surprise. What about me? What happens to you when this is over? I go back to my life, and we go back to ours. The question hung in the air. Neither had really considered what normal would look like after this. Do you want to go back? Junho asked quietly. I don't know, this feels like home now. Something shifted in his expression, hope mixed with fear. Ara would want you to stay, he said. What about you? What do you want? The direct question caught him off guard. Junho stared at the pond for a long moment. I want things I can't have, he said finally. Like what? A normal life? A normal family? The ability to love without fear? Those things aren't impossible. They are for someone like me. Someone like you? Someone whose enemies use love as a weapon. The truth hit hard. Junho's emotional distance wasn't just about grief. It was about protection. The more he loved, the more vulnerable he became. Love is also a strength, Amara said gently. Not in my world. Then maybe it's time to consider a different world. He looked at her sharply. You think I should walk away from everything? I think you should choose what matters most. And if I choose wrong, then you learn from the mistake and choose again. Junho was quiet for a very long time. Amara could see him weighing possibilities, considering options he'd never allowed himself to imagine. It's not that simple, he said finally. It could be. You don't understand the commitments I've made, the people depending on me. I understand that Ara depends on you too, in a different way. She'll be fine. You'll take care of her. She doesn't just need care. She needs her father. I'm not good for her long term. Why not? Because eventually, my enemies will come for her. Use her against me. Hurt her to hurt me. The fear was real and heartbreaking. Junho saw his love as danger instead of protection. "So your solution is to love her less?" Amara asked. "My solution is to love her from a distance, keep her safe through separation." "That's not love. That's abandonment." Something sharp entered his eyes. "So you think I want this? I think you're scared." "Of course I'm scared, every day, every moment." "Then let us help you be brave." The word seemed to surprise him. Brave? Brave enough to choose love over fear, brave enough to trust that some things are worth the risk. "And if I'm wrong, if something happens to you or the girls because of my choices, then we face it together, as a family." Family. The word hung between them like a promise and a question. Junho's voice was barely a whisper. "I don't know how to be part of a family anymore." "You're already part of one. You just have to choose to stay." Before he could respond, Sumin appeared running toward them. "Sir," she called urgently, "we have a problem." The security office buzzed with activity. Multiple screens showed feeds from cameras around the estate. Armed men spoke rapidly into radios. "What's happening?" Amara asked. Junho's face had gone completely hard. "Juan's people, 3 miles out. Moving this way." Fear shot through her. "How many?" "Enough." He turned to Sumin. "Evacuation protocols, now." "Yes, sir. Where to?" "The safe room. All of them." Amara felt panic rising. "What about you?" "I'll handle this." "Handle it how?" "By finishing what Juan started." The words carried finality. Junho was planning to fight, not run. "Daddy!" Ara appeared in the doorway. Her face was confused, scared. Junho's expression softened immediately. He knelt down to her level. "We need to play a special game," he said gently. "You and Maya and Amara are going to hide in the special room downstairs." "What kind of game?" "A very important one. You need to stay quiet and safe until I come get you." Ara's lower lip trembled. "Are the bad men coming?" Junho's breath caught. "Yes, but I won't let them hurt you." "Promise?" "Promise." He hugged her tightly, then stood and looked at Amara. "Keep them safe," he said. "Come with us." "I can't. This ends today." Before she could argue, Sumin was leading them toward the basement. Emergency lighting guided them through hidden passages to a reinforced room. "How long do we wait here?" Amara asked. "Until it's over," Sumin said. The safe room had basic supplies, water, food, communications equipment, but no windows, no way to see what was happening outside. They sat on cots and listened to muffled sounds above, vehicles, shouting, gunshots. Maya held Ara's hand. Both girls looked terrified. "Is Daddy going to be okay?" Ara whispered. "He's very good at protecting people," Amara said. "Especially people he loves. He loves us. Very much. That's why we're down here, safe." The sounds above grew louder, more intense, then suddenly stopped. Silence stretched for what felt like hours. Finally, footsteps on the stairs. The electronic lock beeped. Junho appeared in the doorway. His clothes were torn. Blood stained his shirt. But he was alive. "Daddy!" Ara ran to him. He caught her and held her tightly. His eyes found Amara's over Ara's head. Relief flooded his face. "Everyone okay?" "We're fine. Are you hurt?" "Nothing serious." But Amara could see exhaustion in his eyes. Something had changed. The immediate threat was over, but the cost had been high. "Is it finished?" she asked. "It's finished." They climbed back to the main house. Damage was minimal but visible. Broken windows, bullet holes in walls, evidence of violence. But they were safe, alive, together. That evening, they ate a quiet dinner. Everyone was emotionally drained. Ara stayed close to her father. Maya remained watchful and worried. During bath time, Ara was unusually clingy. "I was scared," she admitted to Amara. "That's normal. Scary things are scary. But Daddy protected us." "Yes, he did. He kept his promise. He always keeps his promises to you." At bedtime, Ara asked both Amara and Junho to stay with her. "I don't want to be alone," she said. They sat on either side of her bed. Junho looked as exhausted as his daughter. "Tell me about tomorrow," Ara said. "What will we do tomorrow?" "Whatever you want," Junho said. "Feed the fish, walk in the garden, read stories. Together, together. For the whole day." "For the whole day." Ara smiled and closed her eyes. Within minutes, she was asleep. Junho and Amara sat in the dim room watching her peaceful face. She was terrified today, Amara said quietly. I know. I'm sorry. It's not your fault. It is. My choices created this situation. Your choices also ended it. Junho looked at her with something like surprise. You're not angry. Why would I be angry? Because I put you in danger. All of you. You also protected us. This time. But there will be other threats. Other enemies. And you'll handle those too. Will I? Today took everything I had. I'm not sure I have anything left. The admission revealed deep exhaustion. Physical and emotional. You have us, Amara said simply. Do I? The question was vulnerable. Uncertain. Yes. Even after today. Especially after today. They looked at each other in the soft light. Something passed between them. Understanding, commitment. I need to tell you something, Junho said quietly. What? When Juan's men were approaching, all I could think about was protecting you. All of you. Not my business. Not my reputation. You. That's what love does. It changes priorities. Is that what this is? Love? The question hung in the air. Dangerous. Life-changing. I don't know, Amara said honestly, but it feels like something important. Something worth protecting. Something worth choosing. Junho reached across Ara's sleeping form. His fingers touched Amara's hand. I've never felt this terrified of losing something, he said. Good. Good. Fear means it matters. Love without fear isn't really love, and love with fear is brave and real and worth everything. They held hands across Ara's bed. Father, daughter, and the woman who had brought them back together. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new choices, new possibilities. But tonight, they were safe. They were together. They were family. Morning brought unexpected news. Zoom In appeared at breakfast with documents. The legal paperwork is complete, she told Junho. What paperwork? Amara asked. Junho looked uncomfortable. I had lawyers draw up guardianship documents in case something happened to me yesterday. Guardianship of what? Ara, and full financial provisions for both girls. The words hit like a physical blow. Junho had been preparing for his own death, planning for their survival without him. You thought you were going to die, Amara said quietly. I thought it was possible. And you made me Ara's legal guardian without asking. I made sure she'd be cared for by someone who loves her. The logic was sound, but the process felt wrong. Decisions made without discussion. Assumptions about what she wanted. What if I don't want legal guardianship? She asked. Something panicked flickered in his eyes. Do you not want it? I want to be asked. Not just assigned. I'm asking now. After the papers are already signed. Junho looked confused. Lost. I don't understand. You love her. She needs you. She needs her father. And if I'm not here, then we'll figure it out together. But don't plan for your death without including me in the conversation. The tension in the room was palpable. Ara and Maya sat frozen at the breakfast table. Is Daddy going away? Ara asked in a small voice. No, Amara and Junho said simultaneously. Then why are you fighting? Good question. Amara looked at Junho's confused expression and felt her anger softening. He'd acted out of love and fear, trying to protect Ara the only way he knew how. We're not fighting, she said gently. We're discussing, like families do. Are we a family? Ara asked hopefully. Another loaded question. Amara looked at Junho. What do you think? She asked Ara. Why do we feel like a family to you? Yes, but I don't know if Daddy thinks so. All eyes turned to Junho. He looked terrified by the attention. Daddy, Ara prompted. I think, he said carefully, that families come in many forms and that love matters more than paperwork. So we are a family, if that's what you want. It's what I want most in the whole world. Something cracked in Junho's expression, joy mixed with terror. Then yes, he said quietly. We're a family. Ara clapped her hands together. Maya smiled for the first time all morning, but Amara could see the fear in Junho's eyes. Commitment terrified him more than any enemy. Later, while the girls played outside, Amara found him in his office. Second thoughts, she asked. Constant thoughts, circular thoughts, terrifying thoughts. About whether I'm capable of this. Family, normal life, being good for you. You don't have to be perfect, and you just have to try. And when I fail, then you try again. It's not that simple. It exactly is that simple. Junho leaned back in his chair. You have more faith in me than I do. That's what love does. It sees potential. And if the potential doesn't exist, then we create it. Together. He was quiet for a long moment. I signed those papers because I was terrified of leaving Ara with no one who truly loved her. But you didn't leave her. No, but I came close. Close counts for nothing. You survived. You're here. You chose to be here. I chose to send my men after Juan. I chose to fight instead of run. You chose to protect your family. That's what fathers do. Is that what I am now? A father. You've always been a father. Now you're choosing to act like one. Something shifted in his expression. And you? What are you choosing to be? The question was loaded. Dangerous. I'm choosing to stay, she said simply. Why? Because this matters. You matter. Ara matters. We all matter. Together? Together. Junho stood and moved around the desk. He stopped directly in front of her. I need to tell you something, he said quietly. What? Yesterday, when I thought I might die, the thing that terrified me most wasn't death. It was the idea that you might not know how I feel about you. Amara's breath caught. How do you feel about me? Grateful, protective, confused. Confused. I've never felt this way about anyone except Yuna, and feeling it again feels like betrayal of her memory, of what we had. Love isn't betrayal. It's expansion. How can you be sure? Because love doesn't diminish when it's shared, it multiplies. Junho reached up and touched her face gently. You believe that? I believe that Yuna would want you to be happy, would want Ara to have a complete family. And you, what do you want? The question hung between them. Electric. Life-changing. I want to stop pretending this is temporary, Amara said. I want to stop pretending we're just employer and employee. What do we do instead? We try being honest about what this is, about what we want it to become. And what do you want it to become? Real, permanent, family. Junho's eyes searched her face, looking for doubt, finding none. I'm scared, he whispered. So am I. But you're willing to try? I'm willing to try everything. With you. Something broke open in his expression. Relief flooded his face. I love you, he said quietly. I didn't want to, I fought it. But I love you. I love you too. The words hung in the air. Simple, true, revolutionary. Junho leaned closer. His forehead touched hers. What happens now, he asked. Now we figure it out, day by day, choice by choice. Together, always together. He kissed her then, gentle, tentative, perfect. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. Daddy. Amara. Ara's voice came from the doorway. They sprang apart like guilty teenagers. Ara stood watching them with curious eyes. Are you kissing? She asked. Heat flooded Amara's face. Junho looked equally flustered. We were, he said honestly. Is that okay with you? Ara considered this seriously. Does it mean you love each other? Yes, and that we'll all stay together. If you want us to. I want us to more than anything. Relief flooded both adult faces. Then that's what we'll do, Junho said. We'll stay together, all of us. Like a real family? Like the realest family in the world. Ara ran to them and hugged them both simultaneously. Maya appeared in the doorway and joined the group hug. 4 people holding each other in a sunlit office, choosing love over fear, choosing commitment over safety, choosing family. 6 months later, the estate had transformed into something Amara had never imagined possible. True home. Morning sunlight streamed through the kitchen windows as she prepared breakfast. Pancakes with fresh fruit, coffee for the adults, chocolate milk for the girls. Maya set the table with practiced efficiency. She'd grown 2 inches and gained confidence along with height. The scared 13-year-old had become a poised young woman. Ara helped flip pancakes with serious concentration. Her transformation was even more dramatic. The silent, withdrawn child had become a chattering, laughing 8-year-old who filled the house with music. Junho appeared in the doorway, wearing jeans and a casual shirt. His business still existed, but ran largely without him. He'd chosen family over empire. Good morning, he said, kissing Amara's cheek. Morning. Sleep well? Better than I have in years. This was their routine now. domestic bliss mixed with security measures, normal life with extraordinary circumstances. But it worked. They worked. After breakfast, Maya left for school. Private tutors came to the estate for Ara's education. Jun-ho worked from home unless absolutely necessary. They'd learned to treasure ordinary moments, garden walks, bedtime stories, quiet conversations after the girls were asleep. That evening, as autumn painted the garden in gold and red, Jun-ho found Amara by the koi pond. "Penny for your thoughts," he said, "just thinking about how different everything is. Good different or bad different? Impossible different. 6 months ago, I was drowning in bills and working 3 jobs. Now I'm living in a fairy tale. Fairy tales have happy endings. Is that what this is? It's what I hope this is." Amara turned to face him. "Any regrets?" "About what?" "Walking away from your old life. Choosing this instead." Jun-ho considered the question seriously. "I miss some things. The clarity of having enemies, the simplicity of power and fear. But I don't miss being empty. I don't miss feeling nothing. And now I feel everything. Terror and joy and love and confusion. It's exhausting and wonderful." Amara smiled. "That's what family feels like. Is that what we are? Really and truly? What do you think?" Jun-ho reached into his jacket pocket. He pulled out a small velvet box. Amara's breath caught. "I think," he said quietly, "that I want to make it official." He opened the box. Inside was a simple diamond ring, beautiful but not ostentatious. "Amara Lewis," he said, "will you marry me?" The question hung in the evening air. 6 months ago, it would have been impossible. Today, it felt inevitable. "Yes," she said without hesitation, even knowing what comes with it. The security concerns, the complicated life, the yes to all of it. Yes to everything. Relief flooded his face. He slipped the ring onto her finger with trembling hands. "I love you," he whispered. "I love you too." They kissed beside the koi pond as the sun set behind the mountains. 2 people who had found each other through impossible circumstances. "Daddy, Amara," Ara's voice carried from the house. "Come see what Maya and I made." They walked back toward the house hand in hand, toward the light and warmth and chaos of family life. "Any second thoughts?" Jun-ho asked. "Only about how long it took us to get here, and now that we're here, now we stay forever." Inside, Ara and Maya had prepared a surprise dinner. The table was set with flowers from the garden. Candles flickered in the early darkness. "What's the occasion?" Amara asked. "We wanted to celebrate," Maya said. "Celebrate what?" "Being happy," Ara said simply. "All of us, together." Jun-ho's breath caught. "Yes," he said quietly. "Let's celebrate being happy." They sat around the table as twilight deepened outside. 4 people who had found each other through loss and fear and impossible hope. Family. Real and chosen and permanent. Ara looked at the ring on Amara's finger. "Are you getting married?" "We are," Jun-ho said. "Can I be the flower girl?" "Of course." "Can Maya be the maid of honor?" "If she wants to be." Maya grinned. "I want to be." "Then it's settled," Amara said. "We're planning a wedding." As they ate dinner and planned impossible futures, Amara thought about the scared woman who had opened her apartment door to a mysterious child 6 months ago. That woman couldn't have imagined this life, this love, this family. But sometimes the most beautiful things grew from the most unlikely soil. "What are you thinking about?" Jun-ho asked softly. "Home," she said. "How it's not a place. It's people who choose to stay. And you're staying. We're all staying." Outside, Seoul glittered in the distance, a city full of separate lives and individual struggles. But here, in this house surrounded by gardens and protected by love, 4 people had created something extraordinary. They had created home, and they were never letting it go. Ara reached across the table and took both their hands. "Forever?" she asked. "Forever," they promised together. The word echoed through the warm house like a vow, like a prayer, like the most important truth in the world. Forever.